Tayo. Okay, good morning po mga kapatid, naka-live na tayo. Ayan, so magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning po, Nanay Linda. Good morning sa inyong lahat. Alright, so sa ating pagkasisimula ay ating pag-aaralan ng ilan sa mga issue na napapanahon. Sa pagpasok ng November ay magsisimula tayo sa panibago nating issue ng ating lesson. Pero ngayon, umaga hanggang sa darating na linggo ay meron tayong pag-aaralan na may kinalalaman sa gera sa Israel. Pero hindi natin tatalakayin ang gera. Tatalakayin natin ang kasaysayan kung bakit pinili ng Diyos si Jacob para maging Israel. At kung paano hanggang ngayon ay ang bansang Israel ay nasa panahon ng gera, sa panahon ng kaguluhan, walang kapayapaan. Ang sabi ng mga tao, wala nang kapayapaan yan hanggang sa pagdating ng Diyos, ng ating Panginoong Jesucristo. Wala na. Totoo naman yun eh. Kasi nga, ang Israel, ang land of Israel ay yan, ang lupain yan, maging nung unang panahon pa, ay punong-puno na ng violence yan, punong-puno na ng digmaan. Bago pa pumasok sila Joshua dyan, sa magitan ni Moises, galing sila sa Egypt, ang land of Canaan ay punong-puno ng digmaan. Kasi ang land of Canaan ay lugar kung saan naninirahan ng mga Canaanites, mga Perizzites, Jebusites, Gergasites, Ammonites, Hittites, ang daming naninirahan dyan. Ngayon, dumating ang mga Israelita, sa pamumuno ni Joshua, ay ginera nila yung mga bansa dyan sa Kanaan. Kaya bago pa pumasok ang mga Israelita dyan, ay may digmaan na. Kaya hindi nakapagtataka kung bakit hanggang ngayon ay puro digmaan dyan sa gitnang silangan, dyan sa Israel, sa Kanaan. Maging nung bago pa sila pumasok dyan, may digmaan na eh. Kaya maraming mga tao nagsasabi, "Oy, panahon na, darating na si Kristo." Walang kinalalaman ang mga bagay na nangyayaring yan sa pagdating ng ating Panginoon. Kasi sinabi niya na talagang mangyayari yan eh. Hindi naman lang yan ang reason na isa sa mga palatandaan na ating Panginoon Kristo ay malapit nang dumating. Isa sa mga palatandaan yan. Pero hindi yan nagpo-focus na yan talaga ang mangyayari bago dumating ang Kristo, ang kanyang ikalawang pagbabalik. Sa ating pag-aaral ngayon, titignan natin ang istorya ni Jacob. Paano siya naging Israel? Di ba? Kasi sinasabi sa Genesis chapter 32, yan ang ating magiging verses sa ating mga study. So, ang tunay na pangalan ni Jacob ay yun ang ibinigay sa kanya ng kanyang mga magulang. Ang ibig sabihin ng pangalang Jacob ay Mandaraya. Yan ang kahulugan ng pangalan ni Jacob, deceiver. Alright? So nakapagtataka bakit yun ang pangalan ni Jacob? Deceiver or Mandaraya. Ang pangalan ng kanyang kapatid na si Esau ay Esau, it means red, pula. Kasi ang balat katawan ni Esau ay red, pulahan. But si Jacob ay good-looking guy. Okay? So you see the difference. Jacob doesn't have the hair like his brother Esau. Esau have a lot of hair. From top to bottom, full of hair. Okay, but Jacob doesn't have too much hair. So, papag-aralan natin yung chapter 32, buong chapter niya, from verses 1 hanggang 32. Titignan natin ang story kung paano pinalitan ng Diyos ang pangalan ni Jacob to Israel. Kung bakit tinatawag ang bansang Israel sa kanyang pangalan. Kasi, isa lang ang Israel, kung hindi si Jacob. Okay? So ngayon, dito natin makikita sa istorya ng Genesis chapter 32, kung paano pinalitan ng Diyos ang pangalan ni Jacob na naging Israel siya. Alright? So mamaya, titignan natin kung paano nangyari. Ngayon, dito sa verses 1, hanggang sa 21 ay makikita natin yung mga gifts na pinadala ni Jacob sa kanyang kapatid na si Esau. So dito sa mga verses na ito, remember, 20 years ang nakalipas noong panahon na nagkaroon ng dayaan. Alright? Natatandaan niyo yung istorya? Bago namatay si Isaac at malabo na ang mata, ang sabi niya kay Esau na kawuyan niya pumalaot ka, mangaso ka. Sabi niya, manghuli ka ng paborito kong hayop at kakainin ko at bibigay ko sa iyo yung blessing na para sa iyo. Nung marinig nung kanyang nanay, sabi niya kay Jacob, hala, mag-ready ka mamaya, magluluto ko ng paboritong pagkain ng tatay mo. Pag naluto ko na yan, ibigay mo sa kanya sa tent niya at hilingin mo na yung blessing na ibibigay niya sa kuya mo. Kasi pareho naman silang lumabas sa kakambal sila. Hindi. Ang problema lang, ang unang lumabas si Esau. Tapos, sumunod si Jacob. So, nung sila nakalabas na, hawak-hawak ni Jacob yung sakong ng kuya niya, si Esau, hawak-hawak niya. Hindi niya binitiwan. Kaya, nakita nung kamadrona kung ano ang mangyayari pagdating ng panahon. Kung ano mangyayari sa dalawang bansang yan. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag hinawakan mo ang sakong, ibig sabihin, mas malakas ka kaysa doon sa hinawakan mo. Kasi ibig sabihin, sakal ka So, dito natin makikita kung ano magiging katangian ni Jacob pag sila'y kakaedad na. Alright? So, dito sa verse 1 hanggang 22, makikita ninyo dito naghahanda na si Jacob para harapin niya ang kanyang kapatid na si Esau. 20 years na ang nakalipas simula noong pandaraya. Hindi naman talaga si Jacob talaga ang nandaraya Yung nanay niya. Yung nanay niya ang nagsabi ng instruction kung anong gagawin niya. Kasi alam ng nanay sino bang nanay ni Jacob? Si Rebecca. Okay? Si Rebecca ang naging asawa ni Isaac na ginusto ng Diyos na mangyari. Matalino si Rebecca Alam niya na kay Jacob ibibigay ng Diyos ang pangako o ang blessing. Hindi kay Esau. Kasi si Esau, hunter. Hindi sa kanya ibibigay ng Diyos ang blessing. Kasi si Esau, pagdating ng panahon, ay mag-aasawa sa iba't ibang lahi. Ay ayaw ng Diyos na mag-aasawa sa ibang lahi, kundi sa kanilang lahi lang. So, sa madalit salita, pagkatapos ng 20 taon, ay bumalik na si Jacob sa Promised Land, sa Kanaan. Taglipas na maraming panahon, si Esau ay naging makapangyarihang lalaki. Marami na siyang alipin, hayop, nagkaroon na siya ng army. Natakot si Jacob. Sabi niya, baka hindi pa nagbabago yung galit ng aking kapatid sa akin, baka ako patayin niya pagka nagkita kami. Kaya ang gagawin niya, magpapadala siya ng mga gifts, ng mga kaloob, mga regalo. So makikita niyo from verses 3 hanggang verse 22. Makikita ninyo yan sa chapter 32 ng Genesis. Makikita ninyo, napakarami ng regalo ang ibinigay ni Jacob kay Esau. Kung makikita ninyo doon sa verses 14 hanggang 15, 200 female goats ang ibinigay niya. 200 ows. Ano ba yan 200 ows na yan? Tignan nga natin dito sa verse 14. Siguro sa inyong Biblia, makikita nyo kung ano yung ows na yon. At saka 20 rams. Ano ba yan? Yung mga lalaking tupa na So 30 female camels with their young. Ang dami yan. 40 cows. 10 bulls. 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. Kapag meron ka niyan, manganganak pa yan. Dadami pa yan. O ngayon, yaan ang mga regalo lamang ni Jacob kay Esau. Hindi pa yan yung kanyang mga pag-aaring hayop. Marami pa dyan. Ganun pinagpala ng Diyos si Jacob nung siya ay nasa Padam Aram, nasa Mesopotamia. Ang tanong sa atin, how would you feel if you knew you were about to meet the person you had cheated out of his most precious possession? Ano ang mararamdaman mo? Na inagaw mo, halimbawa, yung hindi para sa iyo. Ano mararamdaman mo kapag nag-meet kayo sa unang pagkakataon? 20 years na ang nakalipas, ito nangyari kay Jacob. Nangangatog siya. Natatakot siya. Hindi niya alam kung ano ang pwedeng mangyari. Di ba? Baka iniisip ni Esau na hindi pa niya na pinapatawad yung kapatid niya doon sa panlolokong ginawa niya na inagaw yung pagpapala sa kanya at nagkunwari siyang si Esau. Di ba? Tapos una pa, dinaya niya si Esau na kapatid niya dahil nagugutom at sinabi ni Esau sa kanya, bigyan mo ko ng pagkain na niluluto mo. Anong sabi ni Jacob? Ibibigay ko lamang sa ito kung i-denounce mo yung pagkapanganay mo. O, di ba? O anong sabi ni Esau? Wala akong pakialam dyan sa birthright. Wala akong pakialam dyan sa pagkapanganay. Kung gusto mo, iyon na. O, di ba? Anong sabi ni Jacob? Manumpa ka na ibibigay mo sa akin yung pagkapanganay. O sige na, bigay ko na sa iyo. Walang problema. Bigay mo na sa akin yung pagkain. Ako'y gutom na. Pinagpalit ni Esau yung pagkapanganay niya doon sa pagkain na niluluto ni Jacob. Right? So makikita natin yan sa Genesis chapter 25, verse 33. Kinuha ni Jacob yung pagkapanganay niya sa kanyang kapatid. Okay? Yun naman blessing naman. Kinuha niya yan sa magitan ng instruction ng kanyang nanay na si Rebecca. Chapter 27, verses 27 to 40. So, yan ang mga verses na makita natin. Now, he was about to meet this brother for the first time in 20 years. And he was frantic with fear. Natatakot siya, nawaworry siya. He collected his thoughts. Maraming mga pumapasok sa isipan niya. However, and decided to pray. When we face a difficult conflict sa buhay natin, minsan wala tayong mapuntahan dead end tayo Ang magagawa na lang natin, mag-pray. Yun na lang ang magagawa natin. Wala na kasi ang prayer, maraming nagagawa sa buhay ng tao yan. Pwedeng baguhin ng Diyos ang pwedeng mangyari kung ang isang tao ay nanalangin. Okay? So, anong approach ang will be more effective? Yung gagawa tayo ng sarili nating plano o hakbang o mananalangin tayo? Siyempre, mananalangin tayo. Yun ang pinaka-the best yan. Okay, dito sa verse 1, chapter 32, makikita ninyo, why did the angels of God meet Jacob? Pagpasok niya ng Kanaan uli, nagpakita sa kanya ang maraming anghel. Biro mo yun? Ano ang ibig sabihin yan? Alam niyo mga angels, dito sinabi sa verse 1, Jacob went on his way and God's angel met him. Marami yan. And when he saw them, Jacob said, this is God's camp, sabi niya. So he called that place Mahanaim. Yan ang binansagan niya yung pangalan na yun. Angels intervene in human situations many times throughout the Bible. Although angels would sometimes appear in human form. Ganyan ang mga anghel, nag-aanyong tao. Minsan hindi nararamdaman ng tao na ang kanyang palang kaharap ay anghel na. Diba? Sa panahon natin, sinasabi din yan Sinasabi sa Hebrews na huwag kayong mapili sa pagtanggap ng panauhin sa inyong tahanan. Baka daw pagdating ng araw ay ang panauhin ninyo ay anghel ng Panginoon. Hindi ninyo alam na nakapagpapatuloy kayo ng mga anghel sa inyong tahanan. Mga visitors. Diba? Sa binanggit sa Hebrews yan So the reason for these angels met Jacob is unclear. Hindi maliwanag kung ano ang reason. Pero isa lamang ang pumapasok sa isipan ni Jacob na dahil sa visit na ito, Jacob knew that God was with him. Yun lang isang bagay na pumapasok sa isip niya na hindi siya pababayaan ng Diyos sa magitan ng mga anghel na nagpakita sa kanya. So, ang kagandahan kay Jacob, na-recognize niya yung mga angels, hindi na bago sa kanya. Alam niya kaagad, pag nakita niya, alam niya mga anghel Kasi si Jacob, palaging nananaginip Natatandaan niyo yung pinatong niya yung ulo niya doon sa Bethel, pinatong niya doon yung ulo niya sa bato, habang siya natutulog ng gabing yun, nanaginip siya ng ladder, nang galing sa langit hanggang sa lupa, doon sa kanyang tinutulugang bato. Doon ang pinakahangganan noong ladder, noong hagdan. Doon sa panaginip niya, nakita niya yung mga anghel, nagsisipag-akyat. Akyat manaog yung mga angels doon sa hagdan. Yung pinakapaan ng hagdan, nandun sa kanyang tulugan. O kaya hindi nabago kay Jacob yung mga angels. Alam niya na mga anghel yon. Kaya dito sa verse 1, makikita natin, binansagan ni Jacob ang lugar na iyon na Mahanaim, na ibig sabihin sa Hebrew ay dalawang kampo. 2 companies, sabihin dalawang grupo ng mga anghel na nagpakita sa kanya. So itong Mahanaim, ang location niyan ay nasa Jordan, nasa kanang bahagi ng Israel. Kasi galing siya ng Padam Aram o yung Iraq sa panahon natin ngayon. So papunta na siya ng Kanaan ng Israel. So dadaan siya ng Jordan. So nangyari ito doon sa east ng Jordan, north of Jabbok River. Kung natin sa may Jordan nung nakaraang July, August, napuntahan ko ito nadaanan namin Galing kasi kami sa south Galing kami ng Jordan Aqaba sa ilalim. Nag-travel kami paakyat So dinaanan namin yung mga lugar na yan, yung Gilead na yan, nadaanan namin yan. Hanggang sa papunta kami sa Aman. So itong mga binabanggit na ito ay biblical. Pag sinabing Jordan, Egypt, Israel, Canaan, Syria, Lebanon, mga Holy Land yan Hindi lamang tumutukoy ang Holy Land sa bansang Israel. No, it's a big no. Kapag binabanggit ang Holy Land, tumutukoy sa maraming mga bansa sa gitnang silangan. Maging Arabia, okay? Yang Sinai Peninsula, holy place yan Nandiyan ang Mount Sinai, ang bundok ng Diyos. Ang Jordan, madaming mga miracles na ginawa ang Panginoon dyan. Maraming mga miracles na ginawa sila Prophet Elijah, sila Prophet Elisha. Ang dami nangyaring milagro dyan sa Jordan, sa Israel, maging sa Lebanon. Ang dami rin nangyaring mga miracle dyan na ginawa ng Panginoon. Sa Syria, meron din. Sa Damascus. So yan yung mga lugar na hindi natin iti-take for granted, hindi natin binabaliwala yan. Pero sa panahon natin ngayon, yan ang lugar na may mga digmaan. Right? Maraming gera dyan. Kaya sa panahon natin ngayon, ang Gaza, sa panahon ng Lumang Tipan, yan ay lugar kung saan naninirahan ng mga Philistines, mga Palestinians. 5 yan Gat, Askelon, itong Gaza, yung 5 mga lugar yan. Yan, nakuha lahat ng Israel yan sa panahon natin ngayon, maliban sa Gaza. Gaza ay napunta sa mga Palestinians. Kasi nagkaroon sila ng 2 lugar sa Israel na dapat silang mabuhay na may kapayapaan. Mamuhay sila ng sama-sama sa lugar na iyan. Pero sa kabila ng kanilang pagsasama ay pumapasok ang Diablo sa pamamagitan ng Hamas para girahin ang Israel. Ang kalaban ng Israel ay hindi Palestinians. Ang kalaban nila ang Hamas. Kumbaga equivalent niyan sa panahon natin ngayon sa Pilipinas sa mga NPA, mga rebelde. Ang mga Palestinians, hindi nila kaawa yan. Pareho din ng mga tao yan, na mga nanirahan sa Israel na marami ng mga panahon. Noong sila ay pinaalis dyan, panahon ni Hadrian, noong 132 AD, yun ang mga huling taon na nagrebelde ang mga Hudyo. Dahil sa katigasan ng mga Hudyo ng panahon yon, winasak na nga yung temple nila noong 70 AD ni Titus From 70 AD to 132 AD, ilang taon nang nakalipas, nagrebelde pa rin, hindi pa rin tumitigil ang mga Hudyo na magrebelde sa Roman Empire. Nagdesisyon si Hadrian na pulbusin lahat ang mga Hudyo sa buong Israel. Patalsikin lahat, paalisin lahat ang mga Hudyo dyan. Nangyari yan, 132 kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Nung pinaalis na lahat ang mga Hudyo dyan sa Israel, pinalitan ni Hadrian ang pangalan ng Israel, ginawa niyang Alia Capitolina Palestina. Okay? Kaya ang tawag dyan sa Israel, nung pinaalis na ang mga Hudyo, Palestina ang tawag. Hanggang sa panahon na dumating ang mga Hudyo dyan, noong 1948, ang tawag dyan sa Israel, Palestina. Kasi yun ang ipinangalan ni Hadrian noong pinaalis niya ang mga Hudyo noong 132 AD. Kaya may karapatan din ang mga Palestino dito sa Palestine. Kasi sila ang nanirahan dyan for so many thousand of years. Almost kulang-kulang 2,000 years silang nanirahan dyan. Kaya ang dapat gawin ng Israel ay tanggapin ang mga Palestino na kasama nilang namumuhay dyan sa loob. 2 silang bansa na makikinabang dyan sa Israel. Hindi lang sila. Kasi sila pinaalis Pinaalis sila. O ngayon, bilang mga bumalik, i-recognize mo naman yung mga taong nanirahan dyan nung kayo wala. Di ba? Ganun lang kasimple. Para kayo mamuhay ng merong kapayapaan. Ano nangyari? Pinagkaloob nila yung ganung klase ng kasunduan. Ang problema, pinasok ng mga rebelde ang Palestine. Ang Hamas. Tinalo nila ang Palestinian sa gobyerno at ang Hamas ang siyang umoccupy sa Gaza. Walang masabi, walang magawa ang mga Palestinian sa Gaza kundi sumunod. Ano nangyari? Binobomba ang Israel. Kaya noong October 7, nag-declare ang Israel ng giyera sa Hamas. No? Hindi nag-declare ng giyera ang Israel sa Palestinians. Never nilang ginawa yan. Kung hindi naman sila ginigera ng mga Palestinians, hindi naman sila ginigera ng Palestinians, unprovoked sila eh. Ang gumera sa kanila ang Hamas, kaya yun ang kanilang dudurugin, hindi ang Palestinians. Sa West Bank naman, ang Palestinian ang ang West Bank kasi yan ang Samaria sa Lumang Tipan. Yan ang Samaria, right? So tahimik sa Samaria sa West Bank Ang may gulo sa Gaza right? Ngayon, sa Lebanon, nandun ang Hezbollah. Ang Hezbollah at ang Hamas ay magkakampi. Kaya ang gera ng Israel dalawa. Ang Gaza, ang Hamas at ang Hezbollah sa Lebanon. Ang Hezbollah naman ang siyang kumukontrol ng gobyerno ng Lebanon. Kaya nagkakaroon ng gera na, right? So ngayon, nasaan ang Canadian at saka American? Andun na. Nasa boundary ng Lebanon at saka ng Israel. Nandun na, nagugwardya na. Pinadala na ng Canadian government ang ating mga ilang sundalo doon para magbantay ng border. Ibig sabihin, ang Canada at ang Amerika ay nandun na. Involved na tayo sa gera. Whether we like it or not, ang Canada ay involved na sa gera. Maging nung sa Russia pa involved na ang Canada sa gera sa Russia at saka Ukraine. Nagpadala ang Canada ng maraming mga armas. Ibig sabihin, ang Canada, involved na sa gera. Hindi na tayo kasama na tayo sa gera. Ngayon, bakit nangyayari yung mga bagay na yan? So, titignan natin sa kasaysayan kung bakit nagkakaganyan. Tignan natin sa istorya ni Jacob. Bakit pinalitan ng Diyos ang kanyang pangalan na Jacob? Kasi yung pangalang Jacob, hindi na yan ang magiging pangalan niya, iibahin na ng Diyos. Okay? So sa verse 3, the last time Jacob had seen Esau, right, in verse 3, his older brother had been ready to kill him for stealing the family blessings. So Esau was so angry that he had planned to kill Jacob as soon as their father Isaac died. So Esau is not aiming to kill Jacob while his father Isaac is still alive. He will kill his brother Jacob when his father Isaac will die. Not that time. So Jacob take the opportunity while his father is still alive, get out of Canaan and go to Padam Aram in Iraq and find a wife there. So it took 20 years for him before to come back to Promised Land again. So fearing the reunion, Jacob sent a messenger ahead with gifts, a lot of gifts. He hoped to buy Esau's favor. Until today, gifts can do a lot of things. If you have someone with you, if you have problem with somebody, and you want to reunited with someone, you will send a gift or a peace offering. Some people will bring champagne, cake, anything before the engagement. When a person receives a gift, what do you feel? You feel happy. You feel importance. You feel someone is remembering you for giving you a gift. And what about lavish gift? The one that Jacob gave to Esau. So many cattle. If you will see, so many. And Esau said that, what is this? I will become a millionaire for this. Right? So, Jacob wants to buy Esau's favor. So through that, maybe Esau will change his mind to kill his brother. When you see this kind of gifts, so much like cattle, animals, fortune, riches. I will not kill my brother anymore. So many gifts, right? In verse 4, chapter 32, Jacob told his servants, when you see my brother Jacob, or Esau, call him my Lord. With respect, call him my Lord. Right? This is the opposite of Isaac's blessing in chapter 27, verse 29. This praise, my Lord, Esau, a praise suggesting both courtesy and humility. Even though Jacob knows that he got all the blessings from his father Isaac, but still, he wants to show his brother Esau that he is still the firstborn. He's smart. He knows he got all the blessing. And Jacob said, what for? If I show to my brother that I got all his blessings, what for? My brother is still alive, so just let him think that he is still the firstborn. That's what Jacob thinks. So that's why Jacob said to his servants, when you see my brother Esau, call him my Lord Esau. So if someone heard that, what do you feel? A person will become right? Oh, somebody is acknowledging me, calling me Lord, right? So, okay, what can I do for you? All right, see? So there is a sense of a high status that you still have as a leader of the tribe, right? So when Jacob saw his brother with 400 men, verse 6, 400 men is a lot. It's like a small army, right? And a round number for a sizable unit of a fighting men. You can see this in 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 2, chapter 25, verse 13, chapter 30, verse 10. So this is the common number of an army. Okay? While Jacob lived the peaceful life of a shepherd in Padam Aram in Iraq, Esau lived by the sword, as Isaac had foretold. His father Isaac told that his brother will be a hunter, will be an armed man, he will be a violent man, right? Because Esau lived with his swords, right? He can kill anyone he likes. In verse 9 to 12, Jacob prayed to God. And this is his only hope, that God will help him without violence, any signs of violence or vengeance or anything. And this is the first recorded prayer since leaving Bethel. He prayed to God, and he said, O God of my grandfather Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, he said, you told me, return to your own land and to your relatives, and you promised me I will treat you kindly. I am not worthy of all the unfailing love and faithfulness you have shown to me, your servant. This is in verse 9 to 12 of chapter 32 of Genesis. When I left home and crossed the Jordan River, I owned nothing except a walking stick. That's all he got, a walking stick. That's all. Now my household fills 2 large camps. Oh Lord, please rescue me from the hand of my brother Esau. I am afraid that he is coming to attack me, along with my wives and children. But you promise me I will surely treat you kindly, and I will multiply your descendants until they become as numerous as the sands along the seashores, too many to count. Look at here, Jacob's prayer. He mentioned about, oh Lord, please rescue me from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid that he is coming to attack me. What happened in Israel right now? Did you see the prophecy of his prayer? Throughout the life of Israel as a nation, Israel always lived with violence, with attack of their enemy. No peace in Jerusalem. The Bible is saying, please pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Until today, Jerusalem, Israel is not in peace. I've been there in 2018. In winter of 2018, February and March. When I was in, this is what I bought in Israel when I was there. Alright? I am inside the Israel Defense Forces Army base in, I will not say the place where we go, near Tel Aviv. While we're doing the work of the logistic, I am assigned in the logistic department. They put me in medical supplies. So I am assigned. We've been there for 3 weeks. While we're doing our volunteering there is a rocket coming from Gaza during that time, going to Tel Aviv. We don't know where. I was there. And then there is a siren that you hear during this time. So the Israeli army officer told us, get out of there right away. Let's go to the bunker. So we go right away. And then we stay there until there is no more threat. So I experienced that. But this November 7 is different. This October 7 is a different attack. This is a surprise attack. This is September 11 of the nation of Israel. A lot of people died. So when I was there is a rocket, but it didn't continue because thousands of rockets flowed from Gaza to Israel this past October 7. When I was there, it's not thousands, maybe 50 or 100 only launched, but no, nothing even one landed to the ground in Israel during that time when I was there. But at this time, it's different. Way back 5 years ago, when this thing happened and now it came back. Now Israel is at war with Hamas. And we don't know when it will be stopped. This is the beginning of a long war. What happened to the Israel's economy now? Everything now will be postponed. No more money. Tourism. No one can get into Tel Aviv. No one can go out. Everything is in a halt situation. There is no business. I am scheduled to go to Israel next year in September. And it's a good thing that didn't happen before that time. Or else I'm going to be stuck there. And we don't know what will happen after that. Alright? So, this is the prayer of Jacob when he re-entered the promised land or Canaan. Please, Lord, rescue me from my hand of my brother. Who are the Arabs in relation with the Israel, the Jewish people? They are their brothers. Arab people are the descendants of Ishmael. They are relatives. They are cousins. They are the member of Abraham's household. But they are fighting. They are killing each other. Alright? So, from verses 13 to 21, Jacob's instruction for his servants to meet Esau. Alright? So, this is what you will say to my brother Esau. Call him Lord, my Lord Esau. Alright? Now, from verse 22, he mentioned the name of the place Jabbok. Okay, Jabbok, this is in Jordan. So nowadays, today they called Wadi Serga, flowing westward into the Jordan about 20 miles north of the Dead Sea. So this place, I have a picture here, but we don't have any slides, I want to show you the exact location. I have it here, but there is no big screen to show you. This is a good place. If you will see in actual, it's not high mountains. No, it's a plain, with the streams, right? So that's why Jacob can travel from one place to another. They just passing streams of river. So, excuse me. In verse 24, while Jacob waiting for his brother the next day for their meetings, what happened to that night? Verse 24, there is a man. All right, if you see, Jacob wrestles with an angel. All right? You know wrestling, sport. How physical is it? It is. It will break your bones if you don't know how to wrestle a man. This is what Jacob experienced. He wrestles a man, but he didn't know who is that. But later on, while he is wrestling the man, he finds out that that is an angel, but more than an angel. All right? According to Jacob, it is a God himself, formed in a human being. All right? This is what he realized. Jacob eventually realized this in verse 30 in the form of an angel. God wrestled with Jacob by the Jabbok. Jacob had struggled all his life to prevail. First with Esau, then with Laban. Now, as he was about to re-enter Canaan, he was shown that it was with God and that he must wrestle not with Esau or any other human being, but to God himself. That is the nature of the nation of Israel until today. All right? That's why later on, God changed his name from Jacob to Israel. Meaning, he wrestled with God and he won. He prevails. That is the meaning of the word, the name Israel. It means resting. You have to fight. Wrestling. You have to wrestle with God. But in the end, he won. But he has to wrestle with anyone. To God and with the human. And at the end, he will win the battle. Until today, Israel is fighting with his enemy. In the end, God is winning. Israel is winning to his wars. Could not overpower him. In verse 25. And if you see some of these verses, he said to the man, then he said to Jacob, because it's already now almost 6 o'clock in the morning. All right? This thing happened in between 3 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the morning before the daybreak or the coming of the sun, the early sun in the morning. The man said to Jacob, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." Right? You can see the sun's appearing in the east. Angels, they don't want it to be exposed in the light because they are lights. When there is light, the Bible didn't say what will happen to them when the light came. So they have to get out as soon as possible before the daybreak. So this is the request of the man, the angel to Jacob. "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." That's what Jacob told to the man. "What is your name?" Jacob asked. The man asked, "Jacob." The man asked Jacob. He said, "Jacob." Verse 28, "Your name will no longer be Jacob." That's what the angel said to him. "It will be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. This is the meaning of his name. This is going to be your life. You live in always this kind of situation. From being a deceiver, his name, Jacob, is a deceiver, to become... It's like his life is not easy. If you study Jacob's life, it's not easy at all. From his childhood until he became an adult, he became an old man. He died in Egypt in his old age. Jacob suffered a lot of bad experience in his life. In his children, so many violence happened in his children. What happened to his daughter Dinah? He was raped. She was raped by the son of the king of Shechem during that time. In return, his brother Simeon and Levi retaliated and killed all of them. And Jacob was so mad. "Why you do these things? You put me in trouble for this. Let's get out of here. Let's go to Bethel." And then God protected them. And I see, they live in violence. That's why until today, Israel live in this kind of situation. They are the only nation in the Middle East, small nation of democracy, or like democratic country among the Muslim country in the Middle East. They are the only one, surrounded with millions of Muslims around her. The only one. But they cannot touch Israel because Israel is a powerful country too. They have nuclear weapons. That's why nobody touched them. Because the Bible is saying in the Old Testament, "If you will touch my people, I will touch you." Because Israel is what? An apple of God's eye. No one can touch Israel because God is taking care of them until today. Even though Israel don't believe in Jesus Christ as the Messiah when he came, but still God protecting them as a nation. That is the promise of God to Abraham. "I will bless your descendants." God doesn't care if they don't accept Jesus as their Lord, but still God have a plan to them until today. Because the Messiah is coming from Israel. Jesus was born as a Jew. So because of Israel, they become a light of the nation. Without Israel, we don't have any hope. Right? So in this, I forgot to show you, in verse 25, when the angel said to Jacob, your name will be no longer be Jacob, it will be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Then Jacob asked him, in verse 29, please tell me your name. The man didn't tell his name. And he answered, why do you ask my name? He said. And he blessed him there. But Jacob then named the place Peniel, for he said that I have seen God face to face, and I have been delivered. The meaning of the word Peniel means the face of God. That is the meaning of the name Peniel. The sun shone on him as he passed by Penuel, limping on his hip. That is why to this day the Israelites don't eat the tight muscle that is at the hip socket, because he struck Jacob's hip socket at the tight muscle. So here we have the skeleton here, right? The human body, anatomy. I asked Bill this morning, I said, Bill, can you show me what part of the body of Jacob hit by the angel or the man that he wrestled with? So Bill pointed me this part. This is the hip. This is the hip. And then he showed me, in my own opinion, this is the area. Well, I researched this yesterday and I found out that Bill is right. Because this is the socket, the ball, the one who connected the hip. And this is what the angel struck. Jacob's hip. This one, this part here. That's why after this, Jacob began walking, limping from that time. That's why the next day when he encountered his brother Esau, maybe Esau, his brother, show compassion to his brother because he's limping. Instead of get angry to his brother, he said, come on, my brother, come on, let's forget the past. And they embrace each other, kissing each other, and they live in peace during that time. Everything was forgotten. See? So, Jacob said that when he leaves Canaan, he has only the rod with him. But when he came back to the promised land, God blesses his life with so many cattle, so many properties, livestock, so many. God bless him. Right? So, this is the blessings of God to Jacob. That the reason why I show you this, because until today the Jewish people is still not eating the meat or any kind of meat in the animals around this part of bone of the non-animal. They don't eat in respect to the angels told Jacob that he struck Jacob's hip. So from that time, the Jewish people, they don't eat that kind of meat that was attached to this part of the bone of an animal. So that's why, but according to Jacob, that he saw the face of God face to face. Did you believe that that Jacob really saw the face of God? What did you think? Because John, in his first letter, in 1 John chapter 4, verse 12, he said that no one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God abides in us. Moses saw God's body, but not his face in Mount Sinai. Exodus chapter 33, verse 20. God covered Moses' face when God passes him in Mount Sinai, so that Moses will not die. But God put his hands on Moses' face, but God allowed him to see God's body, but not face. Because God said, if anyone see me, will die. But here, Jacob said that I saw God face to face. I don't know. This word is very controversial until today. Because if Jacob saw God's face to face, he will die, according to the scriptures. Right? Yeah. What's that?
If you look at the second half of the sentence, he says, and yet my life has been delivered.
Yeah, he was spared.
Jacob immediately points out, this should not have happened. He immediately says, I'm still alive in spite of this.
Yeah.
So there's no controversy, there's no complication.
Yeah.
Jacob is recognizing a miracle has occurred.
In your opinion, did Jacob really see the face of God through this man? But Jacob didn't tell a lie here. He said that he saw God face to face, but he was spared by God, by allowing God, the angels, because the angels didn't say his name. When Jacob asked him, what is your name? But the angels didn't tell his name. Well, Jacob is one of a kind. Maybe God showed him his face or not for me, I don't know. But Jacob experienced these things that nobody experienced except only him. Right? But the most important thing that Jacob said that he was spared by God for experiencing all of these things. So there is a message to us, like people asking why there is a lot of violence in the Middle East, especially in Israel. Well, we don't know. We don't know the plan of God, why we have this kind of problem. But we always remember that God is always taking care of his nation, Israel. He will not leave or forsake Israel, whatever it takes happen. God renamed Israel twice, not only once, right? In Genesis chapter 35, verse 9, second time God changed his name, or reaffirming him that your name will be Israel, not Jacob anymore. 2 times in a different occasion, God appeared to him. 2 times, not only once. So from that time, Jacob started calling his name Israel, because God changed his name. Did you see? When God changed us, it means we are property of God. God changed our names. We become Christian. That is our name now. All of us now Christian. So God changed our names. We are the follower of Jesus, right? So this is the message of this lesson. Not that anything we don't know the mind of God, but I believe that God is still looking after the nation of Israel until today, even though they don't believe Jesus as their Messiah, right? So next Sunday we will continue this. Give you another one about the insight. But first Sunday of November we will start a new lesson in the Gospel of Matthew. So for now, let's pray for before we start on our worship. All right. So Brother Rene, lead us in prayer, please. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next time.